All right, so look, man, Zion Williamson, this man's been hyped up from middle school, and I've been watching this phenom from before he was in high school. As a 6'8", quote unquote, forward in high school, I felt like something smelled funny in the water here with this kid, man. Something wasn't right. It ain't right. You know, dude he had bounce for days. He was great at finishing at the rim, had athleticism, but there's just some eyebrow raising details that I'm just gonna point out here with Mr. Zion Williamson that I just don't think get highlighted enough, if at all. Now, just a disclaimer: this is not a crap on Zion episode. This is just looking at some scary facts that could help or hinder Mr. Williamson. Now, if he is watching, I hope you heed the warning and about what's gonna happen with your career if you're not careful and what you could become, which is pretty high potential. Now, before we get started, I gotta thank my loyal subscribers for the extensive love that y'all always show, helping me reach 1,000 subscribers, man. Feels great, feel blessed. I remember in September, upon my return to YouTube, I had 30 subscribers and we already at 1K. So definitely thanks once again for all the support. And to the newbies, definitely do yourself a favor and click that subscribe button along with the bell next to it to stay updated on new videos. Let's get it. Begin with, Zion Williamson has NBA level athleticism, which is that's an understatement. All right, and it's actually very exceptional. Top 5% of the league level athleticism, if you ask me. Now, if you could put him in the room with the best athletes from the NBA, and he can run, jump, and lift with the best of them. I'm not gonna ask the silly question of why did he play at that high school, Spartanburg, where there was low competition, because honestly, with 3 state championships, I'll give him a pass on that, man. Honestly, my real question is why did he not attend national scouting, quote unquote, hotspots like FIBA Play or the Nike Hoop Summit? Now, this is where basically colleges and other programs will be able to check him out. Was he afraid of being exposed in a series of tests that would look at his baseline skills like passing, dribbling, seeing the floor, etc.? Or was it because he was already a well-known player who didn't need recruiting? Now, this was a red flag for me because even the top hoop prospects who already have scholarships to big schools still go because they want to stay on top of the competition and to sharpen their skills, and sometimes just to get more offers. Now, he didn't go, and while this could be for any reason, this does slightly raise an eyebrow. Moving on. In regards to his frame, this is where I start to get worried. He was marked in high school to be 6'8" by many top-level mediums like Baller's Life, etc. However, it recently came out before the college season started that he's actually 6'6". Now, look, man, no shade, but this is not a good look. That's not a good look, and this is huge because he was already heavy for his size at 6'8", and being 6'6", this makes him less LeBron-like and more Charles Barkley. Now, it's no disrespect, but it is what it is. Now you're getting into that tweener status. And Zion is built a lot like Barkley, but we do have to touch on some things that make Zion's build a bit different and a huge problem. Now, being 285 pounds at, it's 6'6", it makes it extremely tough to have a long-lasting career in the NBA. NBA has transformed from the 2000s with, an era of chunky, muscly players, and it's getting back to wiry prospects. All right, if Zion entered the NBA right now, he would be the second heaviest player in the NBA behind Boban Marjanovic, who's over 7 feet tall and is a center. All right, Zion requires a lot of explosiveness to get up and compete for rebounds or to score. Now, he won't be playing small forward in the NBA unless he loses the weight, and this will prove to be a difficult task because honestly, look, man, scientifically speaking, let's keep it a buck. At 18, 20 years old, your body is coming to the end of its peak, metabolic rate. This means that all the cheeseburgers and pizzas that we used to eat as high schoolers, and that shit would never show up before, it will start to sit on your hip once you hit your mid-20s if you keep it up. Now, Zion's descent from his dunks is what makes his build so bad/scary, along with the stopping from acceleration. In physics, stopping the car takes a lot more energy than propelling it, the same way that descent hurts your joints more than exploding up does. Now, Zion will find that the difference between him and Charles Barkley is that Charles was about 250 pounds and about 1 inch shorter. So that means he was about 30 pounds lighter than Zion and 1 inch shorter, which, it helps his frame, helped him last. And Charles only had a prime of about 5 to 8 years or so. Now, Zion has to shed about 30 pounds or so to become an effective NBA player, because guys like Draymond Green, they had to shed weight as well. If you look at pictures of Draymond Green from Michigan State, he had to shed weight as well to keep up with the NBA pace and not hurt their joints. Now, he's not the only guy to, be a chunky player, chunky, muscly player. You can look at guys like Larry Johnson, Charles Barkley, Draymond Green is just some to name a few. But the rest of them were solid over 6'6", or with Charles Barkley, they were shorter, but they were much lighter as well. Now, this last bit about Zion Williamson it's about his build once again, but in a different way in terms of how it translates to the game as it is without talking about health. The thing that people aren't talking about is that his dunks, they're literally snitching on his ass in the game right now, and here's how. How many of his dunks, I want to ask you a question. How many of his dunks, I want you to think real hard about this too. It took me a while. I really had to watch a lot of tape. I watched about an hour plus of tape just looking at dunks. How many of his dunks are actually contact dunks where he's dunking on people? And then how many dunks are contact dunks dunking on people bigger than him? Crickets. I'll wait. This is because he does not have the length or positioning basketball-wise to be able to get these dunks in a half-court set, which is important because he doesn't space the floor well. And, you know, he's going to have a tough time finishing on long players like Giannis, Paul George, etc. You know, wing defenders and even centers and power forwards that he would have to finish over. Now, Zion must lose that weight and work on his overall jumper and floater game, because I do believe that he has a great motor and that he can be valuable. But it's also something to note that he does not have a great first step. He's got a good motor once he does get going in the open court, but he does not have a great first step. Most of his dunks come off of fast breaks, and he does not get them in a half-court set, which just shows that he's not able to actually fit in with the bigger guys. He has to get his points where he can get them, which I give him credit for. He gets a lot of steals. He's a very active, high-motor player. Just in comparison to his two NBA-level teammates, R.J. Barrett and Cam Reddish, he won't be able to get away with what he's doing in college in the NBA. I literally saw R.J. lead a break, have a defender issue himself because R.J., look, man, he had so many options. He could have dished to Trey, who was cutting, and, you know, the defender had to play it honest because R.J. can finish, and R.J. chose to just finish it. Finished the dunk easy because he has the length to make that kind of a play. Didn't have to wear his body out. Nothing. It was just easy. All right, if I'm the Knicks, I'm not looking to draft Zion unless he fixes that weight issue and can stretch the floor. Now, in regards to Cam Reddish, now he's not a super sharpshooter, but he can space the floor and he can score. All right, he can get buckets. He gets buckets. And looking at RJ can do everything on the floor. And I mean, look, man, his NBA body, it looks like it's there. So in regards to both of those other guys, they have the length to compete in today's league. Just that Zion has a motor, man. Zion has a motor, but as we saw with the eye injury, he has to get in there. He has to get into the paint, and he's just constantly getting chopped at and hacked at because his big build. And look, man, he's going to have to fix that if he doesn't want to have to deal with injury problems left and right. Now, if you like these kind of videos, definitely subscribe. I will be uploading again this week. This is just a look, man. No disrespect to Zion. I think he has great potential. He could either be huge or it could be a huge bust. Now, definitely, I will be uploading again this week, and let me know what you guys think down below. And you already know, never be mad at me, but be mad at yourself for being an underachiever. Play the outro.